You thought the WNBA drama was over? Think again! Angel Reese just saw her former teammate, Brianna Turner, working out with public enemy number one, Caitlin Clark, and let's just say, she did not take it well. Betrayal? Jealousy? Or just good old-fashioned pettiness? We're breaking down the hilarious chaos, the social media meltdowns.
Has arrived in Indiana. ESPN says Caitlin Clark is not a top 5 player. The New York Liberty are creating a super team, and Unrivaled crowns their very first champions. You guys, there is so much to talk about today, so let's jump right in.
And why Angel Reese might just be applying for a spot in the X Hall of Fame. In what might be the greatest betrayal since Caesar got stabbed, Brianna Turner has officially left Angel Reese in the dust. And honestly, who didn't see this one coming? While Reese is busy throwing tantrums like she's auditioning for reality TV, Turner has happily waltzed right into Caitlin Clark's orbit. And guess what? They're getting along brilliantly. Shocking, right? Almost like talent and genuine teamwork might actually matter more than ego. Who knew?
So, lads, it's looking like the Indiana Fever have signed a perfect player to have beside Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Dwana Bonner, Tasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, Lexi Hull. Who else? Sydney Colson still on this team, Damaris Dantas, and whoever they draft in the second round.
Now, Angel Reese being livid about this is honestly the cherry on top of the comedy sundae. Imagine believing you're basketball royalty, only to discover that your teammate would rather hang out with literally anyone else, especially Caitlin Clark, the one player who makes Angel's supposed skills look like amateur hour at the YMCA. Talk about poetic justice served cold.
And of course you have Caitlin. Like, she had such a phenomenal rookie season, so many great accolades, and I think the jumping from season 1 to season 2 players can also make a really big jump, so I'm excited to see her growth from year 1 to year 2, and she hasn't reached her ceiling yet either, so I'm really excited to watch her growth as well.
Talk about you on the court. Like, what sort of attributes do you think you're going to bring, and where will...
Angel probably thought Brianna would forever stay in her shadow, worshipping at the altar of Reese's exaggerated greatness. Instead, Turner sprinted out faster than fans at an Angel Reese autograph signing. Turns out that acting entitled, glaring at opponents like you're auditioning for the lead, villain in a Disney movie, and demanding attention doesn't exactly scream favorite teammate material.
Actually, a workout video with Brianna Turner and Caitlin Clark. Now, this is the first video where we've seen 2 players working out together from this team, so I want to live react to it with you guys. So obviously Coach KP is there. I feel like he never leaves the gym. You have Caitlin coming across the screen for a 3. It looks like with all of these, they're working on a screen and roll with Brianna.
Watching Turner gel so effortlessly with Clark is genuinely heartwarming, or heartbreaking, if you're Angel Reese. But honestly, Reese being shocked by this development is like someone sticking their finger in an outlet and being surprised it hurts. You'd think at some point she might learn that being insufferably arrogant isn't exactly the glue that binds a team together. But apparently not. So now Reese sits there boiling over in fury, probably scribbling down some petty comeback or rehearsing her next tantrum. Can you imagine the disbelief? How dare they choose a talented, cooperative player over my relentless melodrama? The nerve. It's almost like sportsmanship and teamwork matter, but hey, Angel might not have gotten the memo, probably too busy staring at her own reflection. And let's not even start on the chemistry Turner and Clark have built. Watching them on the court is like watching a perfectly choreographed dance routine, whereas watching Angel Reese is more like witnessing someone fall repeatedly while insisting she meant to do it. Yeah, we totally believe you. Angel, it's incredible how quickly Reese's carefully constructed facade crumbled. One moment, she's acting like the face of women's basketball. The next, she's reduced to scowling bitterly from the sidelines as Turner thrives alongside Clark. It's the basketball equivalent of seeing your ex happier with their new partner, except in this case, Everyone saw the breakup coming.
I think I'm really just like a calming presence. I feel like I never get too high or get too low. People are like, why don't you smile more? Why don't you get excited? I'm like, I'm just chilling. I'm vibing. Like, I feel like I'm really an observer. But I am really competitive as well. I like to run the floor, like to play defense, like to win. And I think the Fever was the place to be if I wanted to win.
Maybe next time, Angel might try a revolutionary tactic: humility. Crazy, right? Imagine putting the team ahead of your own vanity, sharing the spotlight instead of hogging it, and not treating every game like it's a personal showcase for how tough and intimidating you are. But of course, that's asking way too much from someone whose entire brand is built on ego and posturing. So here's to Brianna Turner and Caitlin Clark, basketball's newest iconic duo. Meanwhile, Angel Reese can continue stewing in her own drama, wondering why no one wants to play in her sandbox anymore. Spoiler alert, it's because you keep throwing sand. Just when we thought the WNBA couldn't get more dramatic, Brianna Turner decided to flip the script, and we're all here for it. Remember when Turner tossed subtle shade Caitlin Clark's way? Well, apparently amnesia struck because now they're practically holding hands, braiding each other's hair, and plotting world domination together at Indiana. This sudden love fest between Turner and Clark has turned Angel Reese into the unwanted third wheel. Imagine being the Regina George of basketball and suddenly finding out you're more Gretchen Wieners than Queen Bee. Absolutely tragic.
Would one say, for WNBA players, they should all stay off the tweet. If they can stay off Twitter, if that's the thing, if you can stay off Twitter and you're a Fever player, you're going to do well. You're going to do really, really well. But, yeah, obviously she's done that. She's turned off replies. And with that being said, like, she is an unbelievable defender.
Turner and Clark linking up feels like that awkward moment in a teen movie when the sworn enemies realize they're better off without the drama queen. Angel Reese, meanwhile, is left behind like a forgotten Netflix series. Once trendy, now painfully irrelevant. You almost want to feel bad for Reese as she watches Turner buddying up with Clark. Almost. But then you remember the endless pouting sessions, overly dramatic gestures, and tantrums that make toddlers look emotionally balanced. And suddenly, your sympathy evaporates faster than Angel's credibility. Honestly, Brianna Turner might just deserve an Oscar nomination for Best Performance in Pretending. Past shade didn't exist. Clark, being the superstar she is, probably shrugged and thought, hey, if it annoys Angel Reese, sign me up. Can you picture Reese's reaction right now? She's probably furiously posting cryptic subtweets or passive-aggressive Instagram stories, claiming she doesn't care while simultaneously caring way too much. It's the basketball equivalent of being unfollowed by your ex-best friend on social media. You pretend you didn't notice, but we all know you're crying into your overpriced iced coffee.
I don't want there to be any team situations where you're coming between the Indiana Fever and that locker room, girl. I'm gonna make that very clear. I don't want to see that at all. So once again, you cleaned it up. You mentioned Caitlin Clark. You mentioned she hasn't hit her ceiling as well. But she is the offense here. She is the number one option. She is the franchise player. And I think you need to give recognition to that.
Now let's talk about how Indiana just casually upgraded from a soap opera diva to an actual dynamic duo. Reese, who thought she'd forever reign supreme in her little fantasy basketball kingdom, has officially become yesterday's news, replaced faster than a smartphone after the latest update. Imagine going from thinking you're the Beyoncé of your sport to realizing you're actually Michelle, quietly fading into the background while Brianna and Caitlin steal the show. That's gotta sting worse than a missed free throw in a championship game, though Reese would certainly know all about that. But really, did Angel ever see this coming? Probably not, since she seems to assume everyone is permanently orbiting Planet Reese. Watching Brianna cozying up to Caitlin must feel like a brutal betrayal. But let's be honest, Reese's ego has probably already crafted some elaborate conspiracy theory about how this is all an elaborate ploy to sabotage her. Spoiler alert, it isn't sabotage. People just like being around teammates who aren't insufferably dramatic.
And at her peak, she's been one of the best top 5 defenders in the WNBA, and this is exactly what the Fever need. The Fever need defense on their bench. They don't need a scorer. They don't need somebody to go and take 20 shots a game. They don't even need someone to average 5 points per game. They literally need somebody that goes out there, knows their role, sets screens, rolls to the basket, shoots 50% on layups, can score a couple of fast break layups by just outrunning their matchup, gets rebounds and block shots.
Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed queen who keeps losing her loyal subjects faster than a reality. TV star loses endorsements. Imagine being so insufferable your own teammates. Start Googling escape routes. Mid-season, plotting their dramatic getaway from your aura of diva disasters. But Brianna Turner? She didn't just leave, oh no. She upgraded her basketball life from playing sidekick to Angel's weekly circus, to running championship dreams, alongside none other than Caitlin Clark. Talk about leveling up, going from Angel, Reese's shadowy empire to Caitlin. Clark's court is like trading a tricycle for a Tesla. I mean, let's be real here, Angel Reese losing. Teammates is about as shocking as rain being wet. But teammates running straight into Caitlin Clark's open arms? Now that's poetic justice. It's like leaving a knockoff handbag for the real deal. Even Reese's most diehard supporters must be scratching their heads. Realizing loyalty doesn't mean sticking around for weekly. Meltdowns and tantrums better suited to daytime TV than a basketball court. Honestly, if Reese keeps driving players away, the team bus might soon be empty enough for her to finally stretch out her ego.
Funny that all these people who hated the Indiana Fever last year is finally coming around to sign with the team. Go figure. Now, I don't know the whole initial thing about this signing, maybe for depth, defensive purposes, but it is funny to see how what a year make when the Indiana Fever is one of the, not one, but is the top team in the WNBA.
And speaking of Brianna Turner, her revelation was so clear, it practically had heavenly light shining down. The moment she saw Caitlin Clark sinking threes like it was breathing, she must have thought, wait, basketball can actually be fun and drama-free? Leaving Reese for Clark is like escaping an eternal family Thanksgiving dinner, awkward, tense, and you're grateful when it's finally over. Turner probably sprinted from Angel Reese so fast she broke speed records, leaving skid marks on the hardwood. Now let's savor the irony here. Angel Reese, basketball royalty in her own imagination, being dumped by teammates, who'd rather risk public ridicule just for the chance to team up with Clark. Can you even imagine the internal struggle? It's a bit like someone choosing a 5-star luxury resort over a motel advertising free Wi-Fi. Hard choice, right? But who wouldn't ditch Reese to play with Clark? That's like asking if you'd rather dine on microwaved leftovers or at a Michelin star restaurant. Poor Angel, always the bridesmaid, actually. Let's be real, always the uninvited guest watching from outside. And you know it's eating her alive to see her former squad buddy vibing on a championship level. Team without her. Maybe Angel should take notes. Like literal notes. Step 1, stop scaring teammates away. Step 2, be more like Caitlin Clark. Harsh, perhaps? But the truth hurts. Almost as much as watching Reese's roster shrink quicker than ice cream on a hot summer day.
I think I'm really just like a calming presence. I feel like I never get too high or get too low. People are like, why don't you smile more? Why don't you get excited? I'm like, I'm just chilling, I'm vibing. Like, I feel like I'm really an observer. But I am really competitive as well. I like to run the floor, like to play defense, like to win. And I think the Fever was a place to be if I wanted to win.
So congrats, Brianna Turner, on your great escape from the Angel Reese drama saga. And Angel, if you're watching, and we know you are, maybe chill out a bit before the janitor starts looking tempting as your next teammate. However, Caitlin Clark's value to make players better than they are could very well come into play here yet again. But let's be real. When we talk about Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, we're looking at a whole different situation. While Reese is off trying to get the playoffs for Chicago, the Fever are over there quietly plotting a route to championship gold. You know, like actual contenders. Now, Reese, where do we even begin? Sure, she's got talent, but watching her lead a team is like watching a kid try to run the school's bake sale with zero organizational skills. Yes, she'll make some flashy plays, but is she actually moving the needle for her team? Is she turning Chicago into a playoff juggernaut? Or is she more like that one player who insists on taking the last shot, misses, then blames the refs? Spoiler alert, it's the latter. It's always the latter.
Omo action there. But nice, easy catch and finish. Skip pass. Clark spots up and shoot. Little floater. Caitlin working on the handles.
And what's her solution? More hustle, right? As if that's a replacement for actual skill. Look, hustle is great unless it's just a cover for the fact that your game's not quite there yet. Just like a teacher who talks loud to cover up the fact that they don't really know the material. Reese runs around with all this energy, but sometimes you just wish she would stop and think for a second. If she could channel even half that energy into being strategic, she might actually lead her team to the playoffs instead of barely squeaking into them, hoping some miracle happens. Spoiler, miracles don't happen that often. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there making everyone around her better. And it's not even close. Her ability to elevate her teammates is like a superhero power. While Reese is busy getting her head stuck in the I gotta prove myself phase, Clark is on the fast track to making everyone else look like MVP material. Clark's out there teaching her team how to win, while Reese is still figuring out how to finish the season without tripping over her own expectations.
Now here's something I'm gonna tell y'all. Indiana, do not sleep us. Like, I believe in Stephanie White. I really do. I really do. Like, for real, for real.
Let's be honest. Reese's attempts to drag Chicago into the playoffs is going to feel like watching someone try to glue together a broken vase and call it a masterpiece. But hey, at least it's a good effort. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is out there in a league of her own. If Clark was a Netflix series, she'd be the one with all the awards and accolades. And the fever they are coming for that championship this season. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, more videos are on screen now.